No trespassing unless you happen to be with a builder. Do you guys know Stephanie Dailey? Stephanie, how are you?
Good, how are you?
We just took a tour together, and guys, I gotta tell you, Stephanie is a really smart builder. I'm gonna embarrass you here a little bit, but this house that we just toured, absolutely fabulous work. We're in Utah. Stephanie and her company, Stephanie Dailey Homes, they do amazing work. And I saw some things that I've never seen before that literally I'm gonna take to my job sites tomorrow to implement. So guys, come take a tour with Stephanie and I. You ready, Stephanie?
Let's get going.
Tips from her job sites. Let's get going. Stephanie, how about we start in the kitchen? When I walked in here, I immediately said, all right, Stephanie's a pretty organized builder. Talk to us about all the spray paint. This is not graffiti, I don't suspect.
It is not graffiti in this house. So after we're done with framing, we go through and do a really good deep clean. And then I come in with all the cabinet drawings, and myself and my team chalk out all the cabinetry throughout the house.
So chalk out cabinetry, but this is spray paint. So
Yep.
What do you mean chalk out the cabinetry?
We'll come through with chalk lines and we lay it all out first to make sure there's no, to make sure we have no mistakes.
Got it.
And then you can see all of our original markings. We mark out where all the fillers and all the cabinets go. Then we come through and paint it with spray paint later so it stays long term.
That's really smart.
And then people like the plumber know exactly where the appliances are. They never have to go and look for another piece of paper or scan the QR code to get the information. It's right in front of them.
That makes sense. Okay, so the plumber comes, he's putting an ice maker utilities in here.
Yep.
And an ice maker needs a drain and a water line, but you're in an island. Where's the shutoff going? Where the heck does this land?
Yep, we've got ice maker, fridge, and freezer, and we do this with any appliances. We run those back to the kitchen sink location. And then we've got...
Check that out. So all your shutoffs are bundled in one spot.
We got them all in one spot. So if we ever have a leak or an issue or something that needs to be repaired,
super smart.
Homeowner can shut it off here without having to worry about trying to figure out how to move a built-in fridge or freezer or ice maker. So
that's genius, Stephanie. I like that. Two things I want to point out too. When I've done some spray painting in the past, I always get spray paint all over my tape measure. So I love the fact that you chalk it out, you get it nice and crisp. And also I can still see those crisp lines. So if I'm really trying to lay out a specific spot in the cabinet, I know where I'm at based on your chalk lines.
Yeah.
But this is really helpful, I bet, for your clients too, to come in and really understand the space. And you could have spent a bunch of money and done a mock-up or whatever, but this is a really inexpensive way for them to go, now that I think about it, maybe this fridge on our counter here, I'd rather have in another spot, and they can figure it out pretty easily.
Yeah, we get all this stuff done, and then as soon as we're done with this, we get the whole team together, electricians, plumbers, HVAC contractor, audio, video, homeowners, and the designer. And we do a whole day walkthrough through the house. So we really kind of live in each space, and they can kind of see exactly where everything goes, where everything lives, heights of countertops. And that's really kind of our big meeting where we kind of discuss what goes where.
Is that what I'm seeing here? You mentioned height of countertop. Is that what this is?
Yep, height of countertop and the bottom of the
That's taller
uppers.
than normal, isn't it?
It is, and that's the reason we actually painted it out in this project. All of our countertops are at 42.
Oh wow, you have some tall homeowners over here.
Tall homeowners.
I like a taller cabinet. That's awesome.
It's actually really nice.
I'm 39 in my house and I love it.
Yeah.
42 is even a little taller. And so I'm guessing this is like bottom of the bottom of the upper cabinet.
Correct.
As well.
Yep, and we've got all of the outlets that would typically be in the backsplash. We're going to pull out just above this line. That way we can do kind of a strip of plugs underneath the cabinet so you don't see anything in the beautiful backsplash. That's
really smart. And by knowing that top of countertop, especially when it's not a standard height, really makes sense. No one's going to make a mistake. If you're at lunch one day, electrician puts a box in the wrong spot.
Exactly.
That's a great tip. Yeah. Stephanie, when I was walking through the house, I noticed that you've got some door jambs that are engineered lumber, but then you've got traditional framing in other places. Why the difference in lumber?
This is a decision that was made based off of the finish package. So the interior doors we're using, the jambs on those doors are actually 2 inches bigger than the RO throughout the house. And that is so that this drywall can kind of die in and give us a very contemporary, modern look.
Yeah, like a regulated style, flush base,
Exactly.
probably, that kind of thing.
Yep, exactly.
Gotcha.
And so by framing out all the door openings with engineered lumber, we just know they're straight, they're a lot easier. We don't have to worry so much about shimming and tweaking those doors. With the big jambs that they've got and the concealed hinges and everything else, they're pretty tight in these openings.
I bet.
So you want it to be as close as it can be, and that's our solution.
That is such a great idea. And I also noticed, speaking of doors, you've got one of the new cavity slider 2x6. Have you used any cavity slider in the past?
I haven't. This is our first time, and we got 2 of them in this house.
I've got a bunch at my house, and I really like them. These come in a parts kit. If you haven't seen these before, check out my other videos on these. But what did you think about putting them together? Were they relatively straightforward?
It was incredibly easy. So the one behind us here went together and installed in about 45 minutes.
Not bad at all.
This one actually came as a 4-foot, and we needed it to be a 3/6, so we had to cut down some of the parts. So altogether, this one was probably an hour and a half.
Not bad.
And we had never done it before either, so I'm assuming it just gets easier as you go. But they're just so simple, and it's such a sturdy option.
Yeah, they're all solid aluminum. I shouldn't say that. I'm sure they're not solid aluminum, but they're all made out of aluminum.
Yeah.
And they're really nice. You can see how beefy they are. They also have some soft close, soft open options.
This one's got both of those, and then this one over here is just soft closing, so it'll be fun to compare the difference between the two.
Some good door tips. All right, Stephanie, as you're coming down this hallway, I noticed standard 2x4, looks like maybe Doug fir on one side, but then engineered lumber on the other. Why the difference?
Well, our standard here is anything over 12 feet, we use engineered lumber. It just really makes those walls nice and straight.
That's a great tip right there.
Especially in a house with level 5 drywall.
Yeah, for sure. And then here's those jambs again, like we talked about earlier. Now, when I walk into this room, I'm curious, is this fireplace just not totally framed yet? It looks like everything else is framed. What's the deal with this corner having a post, but it's kind of weirdly unopened here?
Yeah, so this post we left in when we framed because we didn't have the fireplace box installed yet.
Okay.
This is an open corner fireplace, so this will go away.
Cool.
So will this little metal temporary piece once we get the glass in here that holds up that corner of the fireplace.
Neat.
And then this return will just come in and die into the fireplace box itself, so it'll have kind of a little bit of a cantilevered overhang look to it.
Who makes this fireplace?
This is a Stellar custom unit.
Okay.
We actually have a few of them here in the house, different sizes, different features. But Stellar does a great job with different types of media. We got to choose the glass. We did some cannonballs inside. It has a bunch of different LED light colors that can change. And then the actual function of the fireplace itself is really become pretty high tech. They've got a lot of controls that you can use from your phone, and it's a great option.
I like it. I also like that it's got its own combustion air duct coming down to it, and then its own exhaust duct, of course, which is double wall. Looks like a pretty nice master bedroom right here.
It is.
And interesting that you also write in, though a different spray paint color, yellow instead of orange, your king size bed going in here.
We did. Yeah, our biggest thing, we wanted to check and make sure it was centered with the fireplace when we framed the fireplace. So that was kind of a first stop. And then during some of the interior designer's detailing, she kind of spec'd some wall mounted nightstands. And we wanted those to sit proud of this very contemporary floating bed. So we built 2 little wing walls that you see here and here.
Oh, just a little 2x4 wall to kind of bring those forward a little bit.
Yep, it'll
that's neat.
bring those nightstands out just a hair, so when you're in bed, they're kind of a little more accessible than reaching back behind you, which is always a bonus. But that also left us a really great little channel up here overhead we can use for some LED tape and create a really nice light
Super
accent.
cool.
So.
I like that. Now, I got to point out, every builder is going to be seeing a little bit of water on the floor at some point during the job. Looks like your plumber just poked through the roof on a rainy day today.
Yep,
It's
sure
one
did.
of the reasons I switched to Advantech years ago, Stephanie. I had a job that was my first 1.1/8 plywood job, and it rained like mad on that job, and all of my seams swelled. And this was my very first custom home I built in 2005, and I thought I was spending a bunch of money on awesome subfloor because prior to that, I used commodity OSB when I was working for a production builder, and it had squeaks galore and that crappy OSB. So I spent a lot of money on that 1.1/8 plywood, and to have it swell everywhere, and I probably spent I don't know, $800 on sanding all those seams everywhere that the hardwood guy didn't have in his bid.
Yep.
I switched to Advantech and haven't looked back. It's been awesome. How have you liked this new X Factor, which is a brand new version of Advantech?
It is, yeah. It's got that built-in weather barrier. And I'll tell you what, we started framing this house right at the beginning of winter. So this floor has seen 2 feet of snow.
Is that right?
It's seen ice melt.
Holy
We've
cow.
shoveled it, snow blowed it. And even today, it's got water on it from a really rainy day. And like you said, the plumber just put some pipe out through the roof. It's bulletproof. This stuff is great. And our finished floor through this house is actually big sheets of porcelain tile. And the beautiful thing about this is it's really going to give us a nice smooth surface to work with.
That's pretty awesome. The other thing I like about it is if you got a Sharpie, it takes your Sharpie marks perfectly.
Really?
It just writes perfectly on this, whereas it's really hard to write on standard plywood even or standard Advantech. It's a little rough, but that facer on there makes Sharpie marks really stand out. So when you're making notes, if you're chalking lines, everything's really, really clean.
Yeah, those chalk lines stand out. I mean, you can still even see from a month plus ago the chalk lines we did for all the cabinetry, and they stand out great.
For sure. Good tips. All right, Stephanie, another paint color. I'm guessing this is door swing in blue.
They are.
What's the purpose of the door swing paint?
Nothing worse than getting a light switch put behind the wrong side of the door. So this really gets us to where the electrician knows, all right, not without even having to look at a set of plans. This is the way the door opens, my switch box goes here.
I love it.
Just one extra step we can take.
And right behind me, something that I have made the mistake of not doing on more than one occasion.
Yep.
This looks like a giant Simpson hold-down strap that's probably required for earthquake or whatever.
Exactly.
But notice what Stephanie and her team have done. They have routed out this big channel for that strap to recess into, so when the drywall guy comes, that drywall is going to be nice and flat across there.
Yeah.
That is. I gotta say, I wish I could say that's a litmus test for a good builder, but I've not done that, and I hate to call myself a bad builder, but I'm not sure I've always done that, so that's a great one. Now, Stephanie, the other thing I notice in this master, as we walk into this master bath area, master shower, I'm noticing a double framed wall. Looks like a 2x6 and a 2x4. Why the extra depth in here?
Yeah, the interior designer really wanted plumbing fixtures on this outside wall. And we
Ooh.
all know here in Utah's climate, that's not a great
Yeah,
idea.
it gets cold here in Utah.
It gets cold. So how we solved that problem is we put a 2x4 on the inside of our 2x6 exterior. So we'll insulate this full cavity just like we normally would.
Yep.
This 2x4 cavity will also end up getting just fully insulated, but we can run our plumbing through that, and it's a lot more safe than it is in that outside wall.
That's really smart. I like that. Now, how come your plumbing pipes all seem to be like coordinated into this weird corner over here? What's going on in this?
This master shower has a lot of fixtures. So we have the rain head, the cascade head.
Okay.
We have his and hers shower heads,
Yep.
his and hers handheld bars.
Nice.
And we did not want to see all those valves on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
So we
Such a pain.
It's a pain. So we chose to use the Kohler Digital, the Anthem. And
Ooh.
we're really excited about how this is going to work.
So all these pipes are coming over, and then where do you hide? That's got a big. I have that at my house.
Yeah.
It's got a big plastic box that's basically a electronic thermostatic. Did I say that right?
Yep.
So where are you hiding that?
We're going to hide it actually in the room that you're in, which is a closet. We will put kind of a mud-in vent cover almost, access panel cover. We found some really great ones by a company called Fitties, and they look really modern, look really clean and
One
simple.
of those little bad boys right there. Fitty's access panel. They make them in a
Just
bunch of
like
different
that.
sizes.
Yep.
Not a bad price too. $65 for this particular one.
Yeah, they make them really affordable. It looks clean, it's simple. You don't end up with like an added panel on the outside that's maybe not that aesthetically pleasing. So we'll use that there. They'll come in here. We'll have all 6 functions in this shower with our Kohler Digital here on the wall, and it'll be...
That's fantastic. You could also, if you wanted to, put a second controller outside the shower, which I did at my house. And I love being able to be totally dry, totally outside of the shower. Boop, boop, boop.
Turn
I want it
it on.
107 degrees. It's good to go. And lastly, hopefully everybody saw this. We're currently stepping down into the shower. Not everybody does this. This is a great detail. Talk to me about what you did here.
Yeah, so the idea is we have a zero entry shower, so it's just flush as you walk from the bathroom into the shower itself.
Love it.
So we've actually had the truss manufacturer, when they did the floor trusses, they recessed a notch in those so that we could depress both of the main floor showers, have that zero clearance entry. The tile will just slope back here to the drain in the back, and it really gives you an easy access in and out for a lifetime if you ever needed something with wheelchair accessible, but it's also just a much cleaner, more contemporary, higher end kind of custom look.
Those are some fabulous tips from Stephanie right there. All right, Stephanie, now you told us about the double wall in the shower, but double wall also where the vanity goes. What's the purpose of this one?
Kind of a similar solution, I guess, for a wall-mounted faucet in this case.
Okay, that makes sense.
But in addition to that, we also have these in-wall Roburn medicine cabinet mirrors.
Ah, you got a little recess. And
Yes.
also, I'm noticing then that means you don't have to have a header. So when you drop your Roburn cabinet in here, the recess is fine, and you still have full depth insulation behind there, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we end up with a lot more insulation in this cavity than we would normally have, but we get the benefit of all the plumbing and the Roburns being in that front wall.
Super smart.
You can see the plumber's pulled all of his pipes up through that front wall too. So we're just keeping everything nice and tight up here, and then we'll fill this whole cavity with insulation.
Full depth insulation behind it. You're noticing the plumbers bring it in the front side of that cavity as well. They've also put their stud shoe plates on. This is some really good stuff here. Stephanie, I like these safety guards. I've never seen this before. What is this?
Yeah, they're pretty durable. They're called Pro Guards. They sent them out to us to give us some try, and they've been great. You can kind of take them on every job, just screw them in.
And obviously you can put rails in whatever direction and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, they've been perfect. And, you know, sometimes we'll just hold them off the wall a little bit. We can continue all the way through drywall and keep them up.
That's smart. I like that.
Yeah.
How about we go downstairs?
Yeah.
I'm thinking there might be one or two things I want to show these guys downstairs. How about that?
Let's do it.
All right, come on down with us. All right, Stephanie, look at this mechanical room. You told me what to expect, and it's even prettier than I expected.
It is. Last time I think you were here, we were just getting ready to pour these basement slabs. I gave you a little bit of information why we recessed the floors in here in case there's ever any water issues. This is recessed and it doesn't run immediately out into the basement.
Did you recess it a 2x4 or a little or less?
A 2x4, yeah.
Okay. So just a 2x4 recess in the slab.
Yep.
Inch and a half.
Yeah, recessed it down, and then at this stage, we've actually called in an epoxy crew to come in and finish the floors entirely.
How about that?
We'll get all the walls insulated, we'll get drywall put up in here, and then we'll set the furnaces down on top of this floor so that this room really becomes a finished space, just like anything else in the house.
I mean, think about her clients coming into this space with a friend or with somebody that they're showing off the house to, and what they're gonna think about Stephanie's company. They're gonna say, oh my gosh, your builder was really detailed. And frankly, if you ever do have a leak, it'll never be a problem with this recess. I mean, this is such a great tip, Stephanie.
Adds a nice little detail for a fairly minimal cost.
Yeah, now, speaking of cost, if you want to do it for less, though, what I've done in my own house, Stephanie, was I did something similar in my mechanical space. I used a latex-based kind of concrete paint.
Yeah.
Battleship gray, not nearly as pretty as this, not nearly as shiny, but I do have this kind of matte gray painted floor, and I was able to touch it up in a spot or two where it got scuffed during construction, or I didn't cover it well.
Yeah.
Now this is obviously what you could do whatever on it and it would clean up really well. But doing something at this stage makes a lot of sense. I really like that.
Yeah.
That's a great tip.
Turned out great.
Very, very smart. Stephanie, I got to tell you, fantastic build. Super, super impressive.
Thank you.
Guys, if you're not following Stephanie already, she's posting all the time on Instagram. We'll link that right here. But she's shot, I don't know, you've been on Build Show Network for like 4 months now?
I have.
She's got at least 12, 15 videos now on Build Show Network. Her and her company, amazing work. They've been here in Utah for what, your dad started the company 30 plus years ago?
Yeah.
She's the second generation. Super amazing builders, guys. You need to be following their work. Go check out Stephanie Dailey over at Build Show Network. WAYNEMANOR.com. Stephanie, I really appreciate the tour. You know how I finish out my videos, right?
I do.
Follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Otherwise, we'll see you next time on The Build Show.